right on the dot in round 8, I said we would see Tank knock out Frank Martin. That's exactly what transpired, but it did not come without some real concern on the side of Tank Davis, and we'll break down the fight right here and now. As we saw in this fight, it was a tale of would Tank be able to go and beat somebody who is indeed legitimately slick with his feet and his defense. It's the first real big defensive fighter that we've seen him fight against in his career. Frank did everything right that you wanted to in this fight. He was being elusive. He wasn't standing in front of Tank. He was using the entirety of the ring and making Tank have to find him instead of being the man to find Tank. Instead of going at him, forcing Tank to come on the front foot, hugging on Tank when Tank was trying to get aggressive, when Tank closed in on the ropes to nullify the offensive ability that Tank would be able to bring when he got you cornered, turning him back around and using the middle of the ring again, using your jab to pop consistently as you regain space and regain momentum. He wasn't afraid, however, even in being defensive, to be willing to stand and throw combinations in front of Tank when Tank had his high guard up, being willing to say, okay, if you're going to give me some real estate, I'll take advantage of it, only to a certain point and then back off, be safe again. On top of when he did land in terms of Tank, Frank had a phenomenal chin. Frank was showing some toughness. Everybody thought he was going to get put out the second he got power put on him. He ate a good chunk of shots that did get through. Frank was able to eat them and keep on walking, keep on trucking. But what happened eventually? It was the fact that when it comes to Tank, you can't run forever. That's exactly what transpired, because in the end, we saw him blow him out the water, and we saw him catch him with, I believe, an uppercut in the corner, and then knock him out inevitably. And it all came from one thing that I consistently said: Frank is predictable. You can train Frank. You can get him to go where you want him to go if you get him to bite consistently. That's exactly what Tank did. Gervonta Davis, he was able to get Frank not just to use up a bunch of energy. There was a slow tick down of his ability to move and get out the way. He started moving slower. His footwork became slower. It got easier and easier to get him to the ropes and keep him there. And that, coupled with the fact that when Tank would start throwing, especially after round 5, we would then see him feint or then go and act like he was going to throw a shot and get him to bite. He would feint a shot, and then after the reaction, then would go and land. That's what inevitably caught him. And it was the tendency to duck down with his head movement when he gets cornered is the thing that got him. In the last round, I believe in round 8, what did Tank do? Tank got him in the corner again, walked him down, and was able to feint, got him to react. Then, that's when the opening came for the uppercut and then the left hook that inevitably ended the show. And that left hook was outright. That left hook was lethal. That left hook was beautiful on the side of Tank. That was incredible. It was an incredible effort by Frank Martin, an incredible fight all around. This gave Tank some real credibility in terms of his resume that he needed in order to get the trajectory of being an all-time great that we all know he can be. With a slick fighter in a fighting style we normally don't see him fighting against, who is indeed also physically fit and physically as athletic, close to the athleticism as Tank is in terms of just explosiveness, strength, punch speed, and footwork. He's got that in terms of Frank Martin. And you go and you beat him like this. It's incredible. Going through adversity, going through having to really have to figure somebody out who is making you work, and then to inevitably still close the show is a phenomenal effort. Tank did exactly what he needed to do, and everything that we said he needed to do to actually make this the not comeback fight, but the dramatic finish to stamp his place in being one of the best in the world. This is exactly how you do it. This is exactly how you do it. This reminded everybody of who Tank was. Been out the ring for nearly over a year, and now came back, and he looked just as good, just as great as we've ever seen him in his career. It is phenomenal effort. It's a phenomenal tactic. He walked him down. The pressure that he brought to Frank was too much for him to bear for the entirety of the fight. The constant ability to be able to stalk your opponent and understand that you will get to him eventually is exactly what Tank did in this fight. And it was an incredible display of another way that Tank can go and dominate and beat and win even against competition that is at an elevated level. This is what we wanted to see from Tank. This is a great reminder of how good and how dominant Tank Davis really is. Gervonta Davis is indeed, from a talent perspective, one of the best in the world. We have been saying this. We just wanted to prove it against competition, or rather apropos competition that is relevant to him and his skill set and comparable to him and his skill set. This is exactly what we wanted to see. This is what we needed to see. This gave me real credence to give him the credit that I've been waiting to give him for a while. Now I can definitively say Tank is pound for pound top 10. I can say that now. With him being the WBA champion, at the lightweight division, with him, again, even though he was given the championship, now in his first defense against somebody who was, I deemed, a real dog, a real legitimate competitor, you then go and you beat him in a way that it looked like, again, this could be more trouble than even you thought. When I went to see the fight, people around me were all of a sudden getting antsy because it was like, wait a minute, Frank is giving more work than anybody expected. He's making life harder for Tank than anybody would have given him. This was an apropos opponent. This was a fighter who was legit and was skillful and had a lot that could go wrong in terms of bringing a downward trend to the return of Tank Davis. And he still pulled it out in dominating fashion. This is a credence to say he is pound for pound top 10. I can officially say that. I'm happy to say that. We give credit where credit is due. And Tank earned this credit. Tank earned this ability. Tank earned for me the ability to say that he is top 10. But he still has to work if he wants to move up. He can be indeed top 3 in the work. It is possible he could get up there. Still got work to do to get to that level. And if he doesn't do the right work, he's not going to get it from him. His resume now is starting to look like what his ranking is deemed to be. Previously, it wasn't. Now, as a champion, beating a real contender, a legitimate contender. Give all the credit in the world. He deserves to be in the 10th spot for pound. Now, if he wants to work his way up, he's got to go through real fire. And that real fire is cleaning out his division at lightweight. That means going through Vasily Lomachenko. And that means going through Shakur Stevenson. He's got to do it. He's got to do it. There's no way that I can move him up if he doesn't go through this. If he fights anybody else, there's going to be no point. Those are the last people in the division that are seen as really close to his competitive level. This is an opportunity to clean out the division. Beat the two people, one of whom you yourself and your camp have said that you weren't ready for earlier in your career. When you actually were ready, ironically enough, you still didn't fight him. And now you're going at him. Yes, it's late. Yes, there's still going to be some stuff held against you because we wanted this fight a whole lot sooner. And this fight could have happened a whole lot sooner. But still, that says nonetheless this is still an opportunity. If you beat both Shakur and Lomachenko, this could be what propels you into top 5. This could propel you into top 5 in the world, pound for pound. Your talent is already one of the best in the world. We're waiting for your accolades to catch up to it. Now, your accolades are starting to happen. It's starting to transpire. Now that you're going and fighting people who are deemed as real competitors relative to your vast skill set. It's people that can really compete on your level, at least close to where you are as a fighter. Give you some real tough times, real test of strength, real test of mental fortitude, real test of your ability to box and to fight. These people are what bring that to the table. These people are what bring out the best in you. And we can see if the best in you can beat the best of them. Do not take another fight outside of Shakur and Lomachenko. We cannot take another situation where no matter how great we see you as, you are still now at this stage in your career, 30-0, 28 KOs. You still are not fighting on a consistent basis the top level competition. It's no longer time for you to go on and fight people that are just, I can draw anybody. Hence, I can fight anybody. No. If if you want the respect that you deem that's due, and you want your fanboys and all of your fans around the world, I'm a fan of you, myself included, to be right about who you are and what you are as a boxer in today's generation. You got to prove it, and you got to show out and face the people that can make that statement a reality, that you are indeed the best in the world, as you so claim, and as others claim you as. Not me, but as others claim you as. That's what you got to live up to. You got to make those statements valid by putting on the right production, putting on the performances against people that can actively perform as well. This is what we need to see. If you don't fight Lomachenko, and you don't fight Shakur, and you just go on like you've been going on, and you dog down your competition again, hold it against you. Just like we did in the past. Just like we've been doing. We hold it against greatness. We hold greatness against greats if they don't achieve it. That's what we had to do. Because we held it against other people. We held that same standard versus Floyd Mayweather. Held it versus Manny Pacquiao. Held it versus Joe Louis, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Ali, George Foreman, Joe Frazier. We can keep going down the list. There's so many people, so many greats who have paved the way. Roberto Duran, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Marvin Hagler, marvelous Marvin Hagler, excuse me. All these fighters and more have done the work to make their legacy and to achieve their status in the annals of history. If you don't achieve that, no matter how great your talent is, you're not there. Some people are saying that you're the best, you're one of the greatest of all time. Still, that I don't see that as proven up until you achieve it. Because again, even when it came to Naoya Inoue, the talent was there. Inoue as a talent is one of the greatest I've ever seen. On par with people like Roy Jones Jr. in my estimation. In terms of this, it makes no sense how great he is from a talent perspective. It's insane. It's ridiculous. But that is still, if he didn't put on the performances and do the accolades against people that were deemed as truly great within his division, within his sect of his career, you would never hear me say that. You would. The main baseline is your achievements and who you beat in the boxing realm is what garners you the ability to be seen as one of the greats. That's what epitomizes who you are and what you do and how great you were and how great we compare you to in the rest of boxing history. Tank, if you want to achieve that, that's what you got to do. You got to go and you got to fight these people. You've got to clean them out. And then you got to move up as well. Others have achieved more than you. Others have done more than you. Others have been more consistent than you. That is what you got to work against. That can all come to a head if you continue down this path of domination. But it has to be. It can't be a law period. It can't be you going and fighting B-list, C-list fighters. It can't be you fighting for anything less than unifying. No longer can your career be seen as somebody who is just coasting by. Your name isn't going to get you the ability to be seen as an all-time great in the manner that you want to be seen as. Because your fans can say that. Absolutely. Your critics can still say you're great. Absolutely. But if you want to be seen in that historical greatness, you've got to prove it against the apropos competition, against the justified competition, against competitors and against fighters that also test you. Because if you don't, there's just going to be, he was great. Don't get me wrong. Never truly fought anybody that was comparable to what he could do. And if he did fight him, he fought him years and years and years and years after they were out of their prime. We don't want that to happen with Lomachenko. No, we definitely don't want that to happen with Shakur Stevens. And with you saying that time is winding up in your career and you don't want to be boxing forever, I respect it. There's no problem with that at all. I completely understand. This is a sport that is both fruitful and fruitless. It will give you everything and also take everything from you. It will take everything and give you nothing. Absolutely. This is a dangerous game. That anybody who chooses to play it is a warrior in the true sense of the word. However, does not change the fact at all. You still got to go through the fire to achieve being able to come out as gold. If you don't go through the fire, we're just going to say, it's a great what if. We don't want a what if. We want a definitive. What were you when it's all said and done? Now is your opportunity to prove it with the track that you've gotten right now.